less than a week away from one of my favorite days of the year. Wait, don't tell me you forgot. February 13th is Galentine's Day. And today on Trial by Fire Baking, we're making a pink champagne cake to celebrate our lady friends. These days I prefer to eat my alcohol, so I can't think of a better way to celebrate my lady friends than with a pink champagne cake. We're gonna get started with this. Just got some pink champagne. I'm making half a recipe today, so we're only gonna need a quarter cup of champagne. So I've separated 2 eggs. I'm gonna set those egg yolks aside and add 2 egg whites to the stand mixer along with another 2 egg whites. So I've got 4 egg whites in the stand mixer. And we will just mix these to, you guessed it, stiff peaks. This is what we're looking for, stiff peaks. We'll set these egg whites aside and move on to the butter and sugar. Now I've switched to my paddle attachment and I've got a cup and a quarter of sugar and I'm gonna add a stick and a half of butter and cream that together. Once the butter and sugar are creamed together, we'll add the egg yolks one at a time. Now I've got a cup and a half of cake flour and I'm gonna add a teaspoon of baking powder, a quarter teaspoon, no, we're halving this recipe, an 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking soda, and a teaspoon of kosher salt. We'll just set that aside. And then to my pink champagne, I'm going to add a quarter cup of buttermilk and a teaspoon of vanilla. Now we will, what are we going to do? Now we're going to alternate our wet and dry ingredients into the egg mixture. I'm starting with the dry ingredients and just adding a little at a time, alternating with the wet. We'll do about 4 additions. And finally, we'll fold in those egg whites. I'm going to start with about 1/3 and fold gently. We want to keep as much air as possible in this batter. And I'm just dividing this batter evenly between 3 6-inch pans, and we'll bake at 350 degrees. We'll check it at about 18 minutes. We're adding pink champagne to the frosting as well as the cake for this Galentine's cake. So just to concentrate that champagne flavor, I'm going to cook down about a cup of pink champagne or whatever's left in the bottle. And we'll just reduce this down to get a really concentrated flavor. It also cooks out the alcohol. So I reduced the champagne to about half and just poured it off and let it cool completely. And now I've got a batch of my favorite Swiss meringue buttercream. I will pop the recipe down in the comments. And I'm just going to add this pink champagne. Oh, I almost forgot. I'm also going to add a drop of some red food coloring, just 1 drop, just to make this a little bit pink. And we'll whip this up. Now we're ready to frost the cake. I have just sliced some fresh strawberries and we're going to pop, and I've also cut the layers in half. So we're going to have a pretty tall cake here. So we'll start with our first little layer and add some strawberries along the outside edge. And we'll just add a layer of frosting right on top of those strawberries. This cake is so tall. I actually only added strawberries in every other layer. So there are 3 layers of strawberries and cream and 3 layers of just plain cream. And now we'll crumb coat the whole cake. And now that we've got a thin layer of frosting all over the cake, we'll pop it in the fridge for about 20 minutes. The cake is out of the fridge and I've added a second layer of frosting. And now to decorate, I've got a really easy trick that's pretty cool. I've cut some paper hearts out of parchment paper and I'm just going to pop those sort of randomly all over the cake. I've just taken some freeze-dried strawberries and ground them to a powder in my coffee grinder. And I'm just going to put these on a sheet tray. And then I'll just take a piece of parchment paper on top of the cake. and flip it over. And we'll just roll the cake in those strawberry sprinkles. And once the cake is coated in strawberries, we will just peel off the little parchment pieces and then clean it up. Happy Galentine's Day, and cheers to all my lady friends. This has been another Trial by Fire. I'll see you next time.